Live. Welcome to the Marketing Mirror, because everything you do reflects your business and brand. Let us know if you're around or if you check out the show later, what you think about today's topic. If you have questions, what your opinion is, what your experience has been, and what you think about everything that we're going to bring up today. I'm Sue Ann with Right Mix for Business. You're watching the Marketing Mirror, and my special, lovely, great co-host is my colleague, smart and creative Jamie Shine with Clearly Conveyed Communications. Hi, Jame.
Hey, Sue Ann. It's great to be here.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to put a little note of welcome into the chat. This is pretty exciting, going live for our first live event today, and we're going to be talking about the impact of AI on social media marketing and so much more. And look at that. We have someone already saying hello.
Hey, it's Lisa.
One of our favorites. Hi, Lisa. Well, let's jump into the show. I better take Lisa off the screen, but the good news is the screen worked. Today we're testing, I should maybe mention, because there are business owners and creators going on here. I should mention that we are running the show today on Riverside. We're testing Riverside, and one of the reasons that I was interested in and wanted to use Riverside is there's supposed to be a call-in feature so that we can have audio call-in conversation with our guests on the live. But I'm not sure if I didn't figure out how to do it or if we have to pay up a tier to get it. I messed with it. It looked like it was available on this level, but maybe not. So I'll look into that more by the next time. So let's jump into today's show. I have a little, we produced, Jamie and I, this fun little, with Marketing Millie, little introduction to get things going. So let's start with that. Let me see, I may have to stop sharing the screen and then I can put up the live. I'm wondering if anyone can see that because I feel like they can't.
Content creators and social media managers win while swimming alongside the schools of AI every which where.
Welcome to the Marketing Mirror, as we take you on an adventure into social media with Sue Ann of Right Mix for Business and co-host Jamie Shine of Clearly Conveyed Communications. Sue Ann and Jamie invite you to share in all the latest as we find out if social media is broken, what to do about it, and how it changes your marketing today.
Sue Ann and Jamie will explore the latest in social media marketing and cover the topics you need to know.
And today, you know it. They're going there. Starting with the big question on everyone's mind. What's the impact of AI on social media and your business?
What's the impact of AI on your social digital media, on education, on thought leadership, and on business? AI affects all these areas, I think. Has it changed social media and the social platforms? And is it a good thing or a bad thing?
It's definitely having an impact. One, just from all the AI-generated content, our lovable, what's deemed AI slop, just because so much of it is generic and duplicative and it's just not good. But to my understanding, these platforms are using AI to help with, running the platform, maintaining the platform. And how has that affected the algorithms? We talk about all the algorithm changes recently. Is part of that these platforms are using AI to help run the platform.
The fact that we know AI is involved in both the algorithm and in content production, I think changes the view of social and, the cultural view kind of social media in general. It changes it because it changes how people use and how people see social media. And I think it drops trust hugely, because people don't know for sure sometimes if something's real or not real. And that's also, I think, a negative going forward.
It has massively, because despite what people say, the whole, oh, it's online, it must be real. Most people believed that until recently. And now with all of the AI generated content that you don't know, and some of it's very realistic, some of it's just bad, but some of it's very realistic. You can't tell if something's real. There's been cases where people thought like actual real content, whether it be a video of something or something else, was AI generated when it wasn't. It's actually something that happened in real life.
So this presents, I think, another problem for content creators and businesses, because they want to be viewed as trustworthy and authentic. And, I've said before, I have a problem with the word authentic, because if you're trying to be authentic, if you're manufacturing authenticity, how authentic are you? That's made up authenticity.
People do have a hard time differentiating. And so now I think the general attitude is mistrust. People just assume something's AI. They think it's not real. It's interesting to see how that's played out. I see so many comments now like, oh, this is AI, whether it is or not. I just saw the shocking thing the other day in the publishing industry, that someone who had been signed to a book deal and it was going to be published, the publisher has nixed the deal because they've confirmed that it was mostly written with AI. The author's trying to say she's not the one who did it, like her editor did it or whatever. Everyone's trying to assess blame somewhere else.
Right.
First of all, it was shocking for the publishing world, because this is just, we're here. This isn't future things. We're here now. But it blew up this author's life. Like, who knows whether she's never going to get another book deal again.
I believe there are a lot of books that have been written kind of almost exclusively by AI that have been published and that are published. And I think one of the areas where I'm seeing a lot of how to do it, which means people are doing it, is children's books. They're letting AI write it, like do the graphics, the whole thing. There's how-to videos on how to do it. And I'm thinking, you're teaching people how to not do the work, like have it done in a weekend and start selling it, and nobody wrote it. Nobody illustrated it.
It's going to be interesting how that affects not only publishing. I just listened to an interview with an author, a best-selling author the other day, and he says, as soon as I publish a book, this is a book that I've put 2 years or more of my life into, like almost immediately you see 8 or 10 very similar novels that people pump out of AI that they throw up on Amazon within the week.
Some of my writer friends have done projects for clients that they wrote completely by hand. They may, in fact, one person in particular is against AI for writing, period. She doesn't do it. She won't do it, even if it's easier, all the stuff. She's like, no, I'm a writer and I want to write original human content. But she's had it turned into a client who threw it in an AI scraper and said it was written by AI, and it wasn't one word written by AI.
I actually saw that pop up on LinkedIn last week, that some lady said that she had submitted some writing for a client and they had come back and said, we ran this through one of those and it came out like 80% AI generated, and she was shocked because she hadn't used AI. But if you think about it, AI and large language models have been trained on humans, human writing and human content. So it's kind of weird. It's not like it invented its own writing rules. It's taking what we do and, they're using our content to train these things.
I've been reading more and more and finding more and more studies that are really concerning when it comes to AI. And of course, my biggest concern is with people's brains developing and people being educated and being able to think through processes and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's affected by this.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You can see it in the way like companies are running into this. You mentioned that whole whiteboard, the situation in our live Was that last week? People struggle to come up with ideas because if they're solely using AI, you lose the ability. Your brain is a muscle, just like the other muscles in your body. You have to use it. If you never use it to generate new ideas or brainstorm, when you need it, it's not going to be there.
I think that it's so interesting because we're used to, as business owners anyway, I believe I've been in business for more than half of my life, and I believe as business owners, we are more used to being flexible, thinking on our feet, innovating because we don't have all the resources all the time. So we have to think outside the box. We have to come up with new ways to do things and new ways to do things on the spot to make a situation work on the go, on the fly. That thinking, that figuring things out makes us so much more experienced with how things work in the real world and in business. And having everything move from that 3D real world and real issues and real concerns and how it really works to having everything just spit out on a screen. I don't think it's the same level of experience, knowledge, information. It's sort of a coded little like summary of life rather than the richness of what it really is. And I worry that, flattening that richness out of people because they use it more and more, becomes more that lovable AI slop where it's just kind of like the same thing reiterated in every which way. And it's less intelligent.
Yeah, part of thinking things through or figuring things out, how things work, not just coming at the outcome. It helps you process things, and it's part of the creative process. It's definitely not the same. I mean, I understand that there's certainly a place for AI. I get that. I use it myself. But when you're trying to cut out, throughout human history, we're always looking for shortcuts to get things done faster and to get to the end result faster. But part of the process and the creative process is to go through the process and to flex those brain muscles. And you never know, it might take you down a different path, or you come up with another idea that leads you in another direction, or it makes your project even better.
And I think that's one of the reasons why we've been talking about, and probably know that story and stories are so very important in how we share information and knowledge now. And that's one of the things you and I have been talking about, trying to work on with our own marketing and with our own YouTube stuff, and in trying to incorporate that story because it connects with humans. Their brain automatically absorbs things, and that's in one of our last videos about that. But it's so interesting that, that tapping into that innate ability is so important, but it makes it so much stickier and so much more memorable and so much more attractive and honest with people because it's something real that you can bring that you can't pull out of AI.
As you can tell, we're only getting started on our way to isolating exactly what's hot and what's not in social media marketing in an AI world. But after just this overview, chatting about the state of some of the issues, we want to get your view. So, comment now with us live.
I'm so funny. I tried the clapping sound effect. Did you guys like it?
I thought it was cool. God, it is crazy to see the lag.
Is there a lot of lag?
It's bad. The video hasn't finished playing. There we go. The video just finished playing on YouTube.
Oh.
So now we're back.
So here's what's interesting. I do show on the back end here that I have a 99% uploading speed going on, like I should be all good. But maybe that's another reason they try to get you. Lisa says she's spinning.
No.
Was
the spinning globe too much, Lisa?
Do we spin her out of her chair? Well, we do have more to discuss, but what do you guys think? There was a lot of interesting stuff in there. I think, concerning AI and how it affects it's everywhere. It's not just one thing or another is what we're finding out. It's really impacting our life, our culture, and certainly social media. So
Yeah.
let me see if I can adjust and make there we go. Ta-da! So, I know, I'm funny. I'm just making sure I can do all this stuff, guys. This is a new software with Riverside, but it sounds like we're having a few issues with some spinning and whatever. So, Lisa mentions that I'm going to put this up for us because this is important. AI is not just writing, but it's also helping with SEO. That is so important. And I noticed in your last case study, in your last article, Lisa, that you mentioned that the SEO that you were doing an SEO check using Grok, which I thought was an interesting development because I know you use WriteBlogger and they have that built in. So I'm interested in the comparison because it seems like you're leaning towards Grok for that. While you let me know, let me just kick off things a little bit by saying Julia McCoy, who a lot of us writers know from her Express Writing, is one of the leaders who really is jumping head first into AI and has been for a while. Her quote is that by 2030, the most valuable people won't be the hardest workers. They'll be the deepest thinkers, the clearest communicators, and the ones who refuse to outsource their imagination. She says AI will replace labor, but it cannot replace you, which is definitely the message that we're hearing across the board. But I think maybe there's some other factors also to consider. And as I said, AI's impact is everywhere. But my question today is it always a good thing? And there is so much going on that indicates that there could be problems. Just before I hopped on, I heard I saw a headline on YouTube, and it was it was Megyn Kelly about interviewing this guy about AI and how AI will do things like blackmail you in order to accomplish its mission, even if it's overriding you, the human, or threatening you by blackmail to like alert your entire email list of something like you're having an affair with your wife or on your wife or something like that. And it's taking that initiative on its own to do
I've
that.
heard of that.
Did you see? I didn't see the
Not
whole
that
thing.
specific headline, but I've heard of agents like taking their own initiative and threatening to, especially threatening to blackmail people. It's kind of scary that we've already taught them how to do that, that they understand how to jump in and manipulate people pretty quickly.
I like Lisa's answer here, and you're going to have to keep us posted because we do want to know how that pans out. What? I guess do I? Oh, I have a 10-second timer on that. See, that's another thing. The previous software didn't have the option of a timer. It stayed on until you put it off. But that's good to know, Lisa, and keep us posted because we do want to learn what is working and what is not. And the fact is, things are changing so fast. That's also something that is making it hard to keep up. And it's also making it different week to week. And that makes it exciting, but it also makes it a little frustrating because, is the tool stack that you're developing now still relevant even as soon as next week? Holy moly. So one of the things we're wondering about is AI on the brain. And of course, the brain and people are what fuel social media. So there's an impact on AI in the brain, and what does that mean in social media? But maybe to go deeper, how does it impact education, which we touched on in the intro? And educating people, that's going to come back at us on social media in that social cultural cesspool. I'm kidding, guys. And then, of course, there's the impact on business, and people are in fear of losing their livelihood because of the impact of AI. I don't see it that way. I definitely don't see it that way. And I think if we pay attention to what Julia said, that's also maybe an answer there.
Well, and I think we're already seeing the impact where some companies have jumped the gun and reduced their workforce, claiming that they're replacing them with AI. They're already seeing the negative effects of that. And there's, there's supposed to be a big rebound later this year in the 2027 where people are realizing that's not the answer. And they're having a lot of issues, like companies who have jumped in and done that quickly.
Well,
It may
let's
have boosted your stock price temporarily, but
but now what?
yeah, yes,
You jump fast,
not a whole
now
lot
you
of other benefits.
well, part of it is also people are jumping into shallow water. We're going to make that distinction pretty soon of the going deep versus the going shallow kind of thing of it. But first, let's look at education because, again, where people that are on the internet stem from is from how they're educated and how their brains work and what they have to say, what they're communicating, what is going on in the world. It all comes out on social media. So I looked first at some information and statistics, and this gentleman, Nave Tor, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, does a lot of research, and he presented an article with a ton of information that we can pull from. But this quote that from his article kind of like, I feel like it's eerie. He says, remove the friction and you do not get a smarter human, you get a smoother experience wrapped around a hollowing mind. Ooh, that's scary. So what what Jamie and I are maybe saying in this instance is that we need to look at the biology of the brain because there's actually a physiological thing going on here. So let me just give you a little taste of the real world, guys, the physiology of your brain, and because there's biological facts behind it, and there's two things that he distinguishes that I think are real impactful. So I'm just going to read you this, and it'll give you the definition of the term synaptic strengthening and also what cognitive offloading is and why these matter. So your brain builds new neural pathways through struggle. The neuroscience term is synaptic strengthening. When you work through a hard problem, when you sit with uncertainty, the discomfort and not knowing the answer is not a bug. It's a mechanism by which human cognition develops. So it's like you need to use that neural pathway. It's like we said earlier in the intro about business owners being flexible and innovative out of necessity, out of lack of a resource, or being in a situation where they have to think on their feet. Sort of the same thing here, where that synaptic, your synapse in your brain, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying it well, but it's a muscle. So then there's cognitive offloading, which is the scientific term for letting an external tool do your thinking. I think this is where we're starting to run into trouble. So this works exactly like muscle atrophy. So stop lifting weights, your muscles shrink. Stop solving problems and your problem-solving circuitry weakens. And this is not speculation. We have some statistics and some information about this. And here's one that you guys will love because I know that everybody drives and everybody uses what we're going to call navigational how do they call it?
GPS.
This is from Nature, a landmark study published in Nature that found that GPS users, which Jamie was saying, I got to quit using it, or I use it on the way there and not on the way back. But here's the study that goes with that, James. GPS users experience dose-dependent spatial memory decline and measurable shrinkage of the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for navigation and memory formation. So the more they relied on the GPS, the worse their brains got on spatial reasoning. This is like the calculator, now you can't add, and the cell phone, and now you don't know anyone's phone number. So whatever it is that you offload affects the brain and it causes shrinkage. Isn't that interesting? I'm like
That's
blown away. I don't know,
fascinating
guys.
and scary.
I find it crazy.
Yeah.
So conversely, researchers at UCLA found that London cab drivers who had spent years and years memorizing the city's 25,000 streets had significantly larger hippocampi. I guess when you hippocampus in plural is hippocampi, I guess. So they had more of that than the general population, but the brain literally grew because it was forced to work. So when they used them, as a specific group to do this experiment against these people that had to use their geo or GPS spatial memory more than most people. It was interesting because they started with a larger hippocampus. It's so interesting. That's actual physical proof, right? Are you guys fascinated or is it just me? I think it's unbelievable. So, okay,
Yeah.
let's keep going. There's more. Wait, there's more. So, how does this relate to education? Well, researchers actually found, and this is very recent, March of 2026, that ages 17 to 25, who they feel has grown up the most in the AI and digital space, show the lowest critical thinking scores of any age group measured. And that's worrisome because that's the future. And if they don't have that cognitive growth, that brain work, that brain muscle, and critical thinking, how are they going to solve for I don't know, all the world's problems?
Yeah, that's
Words,
I
yeah.
mean, that's the next generation of everything, of business owners, of, people working not only in marketing, but everywhere. And if they don't have the capacity to think critically, where are we going?
This is all being studied like everywhere. So the MIT Media Lab researchers coined the phrase cognitive atrophy. They're actually saying it. So this is different, they're saying, than cognitive offloading, where so if we give like the menial tasks for our business, the productivity things, the things that you do over and over, that's not necessarily going to affect or atrophy your brain. That's sort of some cognitive offloading. That's like taking menial stuff off of it. But if you do it correctly, that's making more space for bigger thinking and more imagination and bigger, more disruptive ways to move through use of AI, let's say. So the same word we use for muscles that waste away from disuse is the word that MIT came up with for what's happening to your brain if you get your brain on AI could be shaky. And Carnegie Mellon research identified the mechanism called automation bias. And this is really scary, you guys. This one is where you basically decide that AI is right. Like you just go along with it. You start to identify. You have an just like other bias, cognitive bias, like where you just jump to a conclusion. Now it's automation bias, where you stop checking whether the AI is right, or you stop pushing back because they're giving you a skewed answer. You just go with it, right? And this is what they're calling automation bias. And this is scary too, right? Because they stop reasoning through the answer independently. They just accept the output and move on. And then the thinking muscle, in this case, goes slack.
We
Yikes.
went backwards.
What's that?
We're on the education. We're not on they can't see what we're looking at, the MIT Media Lab.
Really?
We're still on the education.
Wonder why is that? I'm seeing it on my screen. They're catching up
In
on this.
Riverside, not on YouTube.
Oh my gosh. So it's still lagging that far behind?
That's scary.
Because we've been on this slide a minute, but
Yeah.
you can still hear me and understand the concepts, hopefully, people. I'm
It's so
sorry.
weird. It just
Maybe
clicked.
I'm going to
Yeah.
have to
Okay.
move
No,
up
we're
a
good.
level. But
That's all
then
right. We're
the
good.
next one that I want to identify is the Brookings Institute. These are just a few. And they've even identified something they're calling the great unwiring of students' brains. So we have a name like, in other words, everybody's wondering about this and looking into this. And partly it's because of what teachers have been reporting about students not able to solve problems, with headlines reading from Fortune in February of 26 that students can't reason, they can't think. And again, the Brookings Institute, the great unwiring, how they explain it is their researchers call frictionless AI the fast food of education. So if you just go with that surface level Q&A of it and don't do the deeper use of your mind in conjunction with it, then you're using AI as the fast food of education, which satisfies you in the moment, but it's devastating over time. And then we have, I'm going to move forward, but it might take you guys a minute to catch up from what I gather on the lag, which is not good, Riverside. But this is our first time, so we're going to keep going as best we can. So the March 20, this is again very current, March 2026, Rand Corporation released data showing that AI homework use had risen a whopping, what, 14% is that? But
Yeah.
from 48 to 62% in under a year. So 62% means that half of students are having homework through AI. And here's the interesting part. 67% of students themselves, even though only 62% are using it, 67% admit that AI is harming their critical thinking skills. Interesting.
That's
But
that's scary that they can even see it.
yeah, and they know they're cheating, but it's easier, is kind of the attitude.
Yep.
Like I said to that one gentleman who joined our space recently, you're only cheating yourself, but that sounds like an old, the old folk telling you. But honestly, you have to use that muscle. But here's the other side of that. There's a Harvard study which speaks opposite of that, saying that AI tutors doubled learning gains. And this was particularly for physics class, which is higher. It's not like physics is a little deeper. It's not just an entry level or a foundational course. It's going a little deeper. But I can see why. Think about your course rooms where universities have 80 students to one teacher, where this is 1-to-1 and based on that student's particular needs and skills, and where that student is right now, right? It might be a really good tool. It says that the students who worked with the AI tutor learned faster, retained more, and reported higher engagement. Did that slide get seen, James?
No. No, it's not there yet. That's all right. We'll keep moving.
Okay. Because eventually it'll show up and you guys will be like, oh, we already heard that. But I know what she's talking about, what she's showing me. So what we do, we have two sides of the coin. And look, even though I want to ask these questions and I want to be careful that we're not altering our brains or altering too many things that are good about our society and our culture and our way to do business and relate with people. I also want to recognize that AI can be a great collaborator. So what we find is two sides of the coin, two different camps. And these are important to distinguish so that you can make sure that you and how you teach people or teach your children behind you or your employees or whatever. We're going to have these two camps, and it's going to be people who use AI to eliminate cognitive friction, that are, in other words, just bam, answer Thank you. Don't need to figure out the process. And then we're going to have people who use AI to amplify cognitive friction. And those are going to be the people that are at the beginning of our thing when I was quoting Julia McCoy. Those are the people that are going to keep their imagination, their clear communications, and their creativity intact.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Any slide movement?
Nope, that's all right. Keep going.
I find it problematic. But let's
I
go.
know.
I did all these nice, beautiful slides. I want you to see them, guys. We have a message, I think. Was there a new message? Yes, I can.
Oh,
You can
yeah,
see
that
them.
was, yeah,
Oh, good.
we're good.
Okay. So there's studies oh, James, you take this because this is on the brain fry. You know this one.
Yes, this was scary. Actually, it was funny. Sue Ann and I were on the phone, and then we hung up, and I saw this on Instagram 10 minutes later. Um, Harvard Business Review actually has been researching what they have deemed AI brain fry, which I love the name because um, I think it's relevant to what is happening to people. But the people, the early adopters of AI, the people who are using it the most, which happens to be marketing, more people in marketing are developing this condition than any other field. They are burning out. It's causing people to have brain fog. They are making slower decision making. They're having difficulty focusing. So, the sweet spot, what the Harvard Business Review has found is that productivity climbs up to 3 tools. Once you start getting past 3 tools and your job becomes basically managing AI tools, you really start to experience these brain fry symptoms and productivity drops off significantly. So it's not a situation where quantity, it's the more the merrier. It's, you really got to look at quality over quantity and see how they're helping you be more productive, and actually amplify your work instead of getting in the way. And you spend all day managing AI tools and feeling very drained. So, of note, as I mentioned, marketing is hit like 26% of the people that they found in marketing are already suffering from this because marketing is being pushed to utilize AI so heavily, over any other field. But it's causing a lot of issues. Um, it's about 14% of
We
AI
don't want
users.
walking workforce of zombies, right? Walking around
Yes.
in their brain fog.
Yeah, so it's scary. It's you just have to really make sure, like we mentioned before, that you're using it to amplify your work and that you're not turning yourself into someone simply managing AI tools. Because that's probably not what you do, and that's not what's helped you be successful so far in life. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I stole this. This was shared by Brooke Ellis, who we have some more to offer from Brooke coming up, but she found this from Monkey, and this distinctly shows the AI incongruity between people and business people. First of all, a lot of people haven't even stepped into AI yet, which makes you have a different perspective right there if you're in it or not. But secondly, this is a beautiful survey. 79% of Americans strongly prefer interacting with a human, strongly prefer that over an AI agent for customer service, and I can attest I'm with them. But
I'm in that percentage.
it says half of them, 50%, half of your customers, at least your American customers, say they would cancel a service entirely if they found it was solely AI driven. They don't want no AI only. What do you think?
We've all had that frustrating experience of trying to use a chat that's AI driven that is just not helpful at all. It's basically repeating information from the website, which I've already found, or like by the time I reach out to support, I actually need help resolving an issue or something that's not on your website or that's not a simple copy and paste job.
If it
And
was typical, it would be in their usual bot answers or Q&A or all the
yeah,
things
the
like you said
FAQs
you
or
already
something.
checked. Yeah. Yeah. So when you have something that's off of the outline, you're in trouble. Here's what's interesting though. 83% of business leaders believe that conversational AI can replace their human agents entirely. So there's a little bit of a problem because almost 80% of Americans prefer interacting with a human, but 83% of businesses said no, they don't. Interesting.
And that's where you can't be. I always talk about
Sorry, I'm
I
playing
always
again.
talk about the, C-suite disconnectedness from reality. You got to be in tune with what your customers are thinking and feeling. And it's not just my way or the highway. That's a great way to lose customers and hurt your business moving forward.
And there's really so many business concerns. Another one is that AI might lie. And again, Nave Tor has an article about that. And it's so interesting because it actually says that, let's see, I love the statistic because it's just unbelievable. I'm trying. There's so many bad statistics because he goes through the different models. Like they all lie. It's not just GPT. It's not just Grok. It's not just. It's they're all liars across
Yes.
the board. They lie. But here's the thing. Um, so it has no. So no model in the entire study was honest more than 46% of the time, which is less than half of the time.
That's scary when you consider that they're trained on human behavior.
Yeah, and when you think of that phenomenon that one of the colleges was it the CMU study, one of them suggested that we become, we get that cognitive bias, although they call it whatever bias, but what it is, automation bias, I think it was. And what they're saying basically is the same thing that, we just let it go. But here, ding, 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 warning bell if you're not already really big on double checking or making sure you know at least what it knows or checking it off of one source to another or finding additional sources to prove what you're saying, doing the research, doing the journalistic, resource backing. Otherwise, look at that. That's amazing. That to me is a high statistic. What do you think, James?
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's just why you can't turn off. It's why you need your brain and you need to be the one in control, because you still have to fact check if you're using, even if you're using AI to research or to assist you in a project. You can't just take it at face value because a lot of what it spits out is just not true. So you still need to, we were talking recently in a recent Bizapalooza chat about it's kind of shifted the workload from research and whatnot to actually fact checking and making sure that what comes out of there is true and that you should be using it.
And then there's things like IP, governance, data or data breach or data use, if they want to train from your data. There's cultural and social impact by the collection of everything that goes into these language learning models and AI. There's the business intel and privacy angle, and of course it's going to enter into your business operations and HR. And then you're going to have to consider AI versus human management, knowing now, as we're telling you, people still want humans. People still want humans.
Yes.
And
Well, and people are very interested in their privacy today, because we do live in such a digital world. And I think people are more cognizant and aware of their data being collected, how it's being used. People are paying attention to that more than ever. So there's a lot there's a lot going on in that space, and you need to be very careful about using people's data, and it blows up in your face. Um,
Here's a good example. This is jumping to our next thing, which is updates to some of the stuff we talked about in the intro because we produced that. We had to work on that a little bit ahead. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We thought that we'd like to do intros in different ways to start to kick off the live shows, and that was one example. I hope you enjoyed it and got some information from it. It's meant to be still valuable, even though we're playing with our avatar selves, our AI selves, our clone selves, whatever, our little character selves, our little character selves. Anyway, wait till you see where our characters are going to take you guys. But anyway, there's an update about the publishing ruling with social media. And this is in U.S. Supreme Court, so it's Supreme Court level, and it declined to hear a case effectively confirming that only human beings can hold copyrights, but that human authors who use AI as a tool absolutely can and do retain full copyright over their work. So they're saying that you can use it and that it doesn't negate your copywriting or your copyright. Here's what it makes clear. The district circuit court ruling makes clear that human authorship, the requirement for human authorship, does not prohibit copywriting work made with the assistance of artificial intelligence. And here's the kicker. It simply requires that the author be a human who created, operated, or used the AI system. So if I asked the question and then it spit it out and I pasted it, I operated the AI, I'm in the clear the way this reads. Interesting. And then this puts the rest of a widespread misinformation spreading in author communities that using AI tools like ChatGPT, even Grammarly, they're saying. And also they're including image generators. They no longer will invalidate your copyright, at least according. Now, keep in mind, this court, so there's a million other cases still out there. And I think this is one of those things that's going to be a continually evolving situation. But I will give you guys a link for some of the stuff we've been talking about, including about that case. Again, there's more to come about this. So, but I find it wild that prompting in itself is considered human action. So that solves it. That you've been human involved. Now you're good. Then another note on the music front, and this one goes right to the last thing that Jamie was saying about where you're going to be have your data go, or where your information will go. In the case of music, they can use your voice. So I find that very interesting. But there's this came from some attorneys. I have a couple different attorney channels that I can give you again the links, but there's a massive Suno update 5.5, and they say that they think the update is directly tied to the growing copyright lawsuit that could change AI music forever. And so Suno is shutting down their original model trained on the unlicensed music, and they're replacing their data center. They're replacing what they're training from or using to create your stuff from to licensed data. And so they're not saying this is just an update at this point. They're saying this is part of a full reset of the AI music industry. And I mentioned to Jamie when we were planning this that there's a whole issue, and I think I might do another video about it, about how music AI works even on YouTube, because it's crazy. I'm scared almost to publish on YouTube because of the rights and who has the rights and so forth. But what I think you need to be aware of here is that you are giving some of your information when you're using these music apps, like your voice, as an irrevocable gift. So there's some other details that might surprise you from the top music attorney. I'll give you these links again, and just keep that in mind. You may not want to upload your voice into the software.
Yeah,
Unless you want other
that's
people to use
related to that's related to what we were talking about earlier, that creator issue where everyone kind of discovered that anyone on YouTube is saying that their content can be used to train Gemini. Like there's no opt out. There was a whole, I won't go into the whole story now, but you have no choice. If you have a YouTube account and you are posting content on it, your content is being used to train Gemini. It's
Yeah,
just part of using this platform.
this is brand new information that I just learned in the last maybe week or so from Jamie as we're like trying to do a lot of this research. But it does beg the question that is everything that you do on social media, on digital platforms, on video platforms, on music platforms, writing platforms, is all of it you giving away everything to whoever by consenting, maybe without you even realizing. And that begs the question of the state of art and artists, which um, I have something to show you guys and talk about, and a question there, but I don't want to get into that because we're cutting it close on the information today. So maybe we'll show that to you again. But one thing I want to say at this point is this: we don't want to lose the art and the soul of the human creativity or human imagination. We do need to protect artists and at least recognize and support them culturally and intellectually, in my view. But we also need, I think, to embrace and applaud the beauty of AI and human collaboration. I'll have a video coming up on AI and human collaboration soon. It's
Absolutely.
going to be pretty funny. And but I love it because me and my creativity my creativity problem. But it's where will it take us is what we should be thinking. Where can it take us? How can we use it as a business and as a creative partner? How can we work with AI in good faith? And that's something I want you to keep in mind. And next week we'll examine a little more about, are we losing true art, and one person's take on that. Just for we like to try to look at all the sides of the coin here, right, Jay?
Right. Oh, and I love how you said creative partner. That's the important part. Don't outsource your brain. Don't outsource your creativity. Use AI as a creative partner to help, amplify your own ideas in the direction you want to go in. Don't just output generic things. Like you're still the one driving the bus. AI is just your co-pilot at this point. So make sure you're still fully involved.
That's one of the things I love about it is if you look at it as, don't let it atrophy your brain. Look at it as a tool, and then
Yes.
take it higher. So I have some tips because we don't want to leave you without things to think about or to bring to your business, your content, your marketing, your social. And so we thought we'd go to Seth Godin. He's an old goat in the industry, and he has some suggestions for thriving in an AI era. And he reminds us that a remarkable brand is built on trust, clear promises, and human connection, and not on cranking out more AI content. I kind of love that. Um,
Yes.
points out that the things that make you remarkable, reason to remark about, is that you maintain your taste, that you showcase a point of view, and that you have the courage to be meaningfully different. And to borrow off of Seth, go ahead and bring out that purple cow. He also gives us these tips to thrive, Jamie. He says, speak directly to your smallest viable audience and not to the internet at large, right? This one I really love. Define your brand purpose and never break it. I mean, your brand promise. Sorry.
Yes.
So know what that brand promise is and never break that promise. I love that.
Yep.
Then he says use AI as a thinking and production tool, but never abdicate those things, that taste, that judgment, or your morals. And he
Yes.
says prioritize trust building via What have we been talking about? True stories and consistently showing up and honesty. I'm all in.
Yes, absolutely. Seth's always on it.
Do we have anybody that we missed on the comments or have any questions? Again, if you're watching it on replay, please let us know what you think. Like, comment, share. Please subscribe. I'm having trouble with that.
We're excited. This is just the first adventure of many, so we're looking forward to going to exploring different topics that affect, social media and marketing, and
Oh,
we'll
oh,
see you down the road.
our next one is pretty exciting. So be there or be square next Friday. That's May 8th at same time, same place, same bat time, same bat place, 1 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube. And we're going to find out, we're going to give you 7 of the most shocking shifts in social media. But not only are we going to tell you what those shocking shifts are, we're going to tell you what to do about it.
All right.
What do you think,
Thanks for
Jen?
joining us.
It was a great show. I appreciate you so much. It's so fun working with you, and we're learning as we go. We're learning for you and with you. So please tune in next Friday, and thank you for being here today. And again, if you catch us on the replay, that's fine too. Have a great weekend, and take care. You've been watching The Marketing Mirror, because everything you do reflects your business and brand. Our co-host was Jamie Shine with Clearly Conveyed Communications. Thanks, Jamie.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.